Imagine a creature so vibrant it looks like it's made of living sunlight, a monkey that should only exist in fairy tales. Now imagine that this entire species is clinging to life in a forest fragment the size of a city park. Deep in the coastal rainforests of Brazil, there's a flash of gold. It's a golden lion tamarin leaping through the canopy. With its brilliant orange-gold fur and a magnificent mane framing its curious face, it's one of the most stunning primates on Earth. But for decades, this flash of gold was disappearing. The sound of chainsaws and the crush of bulldozers were closing in, pushing this tiny monkey to the very brink of oblivion. Its story is a dramatic race against time, a battle fought not just to save a species, but to piece a shattered world back together. To understand the desperate situation of the golden lion tamarin, you have to see the world through its eyes. This isn't just any monkey. It's a specialist, perfectly adapted to a very specific place, the lowland Atlantic forest of Brazil. It needs a complex, multi-layered canopy to find food, fruits, insects, small lizards. It needs tree holes for shelter at night, safe from predators like hawks and snakes. And perhaps most importantly, it needs space. A family group can roam a territory of over 100 acres. For centuries, they had it. The Atlantic forest stretched for over 500,000 square miles, a vast green universe for these golden acrobats. But then the world changed around them. The trouble began with a simple human demand: space. The rich soils and favorable climate of the tamarin's homeland were perfect for agriculture. First came sugar cane plantations, then coffee, then pasture land for cattle. Cities like Rio de Janeiro expanded, swallowing thousands of acres. The forest was seen as an obstacle to progress, something to be cleared and conquered. The destruction was breathtakingly fast. In less than a century, over 90% of the Atlantic forest was wiped out. What was once an unbroken emerald tapestry was reduced to tiny, isolated green islands, floating in a sea of farms and roads. For the tamarins, this was a death sentence. They were trapped. They couldn't cross the open fields to find new mates, which led to inbreeding. They couldn't find enough food in the small fragments, so they starved. Their specialized tree-hole homes were cut down. By the early 1970s, the situation was beyond critical. Scientists made a grim census and arrived at a number that sent shockwaves through the conservation world. Only about 200 golden lion tamarins were left on the entire planet. They were among the most endangered mammals in the world. The flash of gold was flickering, about to go out forever. But this is where the story takes a turn. Because a small group of scientists and conservationists refused to let the light go out, they launched one of the most intricate and daring rescue missions in the history of wildlife conservation. The first phase was an emergency intervention, captive breeding. Zoos around the world joined a coordinated program to create a genetic safety net. But breeding them was the easy part. The real challenge was putting them back. You can't just open a cage in a forest fragment and hope for the best. The tamarins had spent generations in captivity. They didn't know how to be wild. So conservationists created a halfway house, a pre-release training center. They built large, naturalistic enclosures filled with native trees. They hid food under bark and in leaves, forcing the tamarins to learn to forage. They played recordings of predator calls. They were essentially running a school for monkeys, teaching them the survival skills their parents never could. Once they passed their final exams, They were carefully transported to Brazil and released into protected forest fragments. The world held its breath. Would they remember their lessons? For the first few weeks, teams followed them day and night, supplementing their diet, guiding them away from danger. And then, a miracle. The first captive-born tamarins, born in the wild to reintroduced parents, were spotted. It was proof that the plan could work, but saving a few families wasn't enough. The deeper problem remained: their home was still in pieces. A tamarin in one fragment was completely cut off from a tamarin just a few miles away. This is where the mission evolved from a rescue operation into an ecosystem-scale engineering project. The solution was as simple as it was revolutionary: build bridges, not concrete bridges, but living ones. The conservationists launched an ambitious project to plant forest corridors. They worked with local landowners, many of them farmers, to plant thousands of native trees, creating green pathways that connected the isolated forest fragments. They called it the Green Grid. It was slow, painstaking work. But over years, the corridors grew. And then the magic happened. Motion sensor cameras captured the incredible moment when a brave tamarin, high up in the canopy, ventured onto a young connecting tree, and then another, crossing from one forest island to another for the first time in generations. This wasn't just about movement, it was about genetic rescue. Tamarins from different fragments could finally meet and mate, strengthening the entire population's health. The project also had to tackle the immediate threats. They installed nest boxes in forests that lacked natural tree holes, giving families safe places to sleep. They worked with the government to officially protect vast stretches of land, turning them into biological reserves. The golden flash was beginning to spread again. The final, and perhaps most crucial, piece of the puzzle was the people. For the tamarin to have a future, the communities living around the forest had to see it not as a pest, but as a treasure. Conservationists launched education programs, bringing schoolchildren into the forest to see the tamarins for themselves. They created ecotourism opportunities, showing locals that a living forest with rare wildlife could be more valuable than a cleared field. They hired hundreds of people from nearby towns as rangers, field researchers, and tree planters. The golden lion tamarin slowly transformed from an anonymous animal into a local celebrity, a symbol of regional pride. The fight was being won tree by tree, and person by person. Today, the number of golden lion tamarins in the wild has climbed from a terrifying 200 to a more hopeful 3,000. It's one of the great success stories of modern conservation, but the work is far from over. The forest corridors are young and vulnerable. The pressure for land development is constant. A single outbreak of disease, a new wave of deforestation, could still undo decades of progress. The story of the golden lion tamarin is a powerful reminder that extinction is not a single event, but a slow process of erosion. And its comeback shows that recovery is also a process, a deliberate, difficult, and breathtakingly beautiful process of restoration. It proves that even when a species is backed into the tiniest corner of its world, we can choose to build a path forward for them. We can choose to replant the bridges we once burned. Which other animal fighting against habitat loss do you want to see featured next? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe to Rare Species for more stories of wildlife on the edge.